We're gonna just start with this. He's Marcus, I'm Chad. So anyway, AEW roster loaded, just absolutely loaded. We went through, the build up to it, but basically what we can boil down to is they got talent out the wazoo. I was gonna call him Smash Mouth Cobbs because I couldn't remember his actual gimmick name. I wasn't gonna let myself off the hook. I completely forgot about Powerhouse's name.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I did. I forgot. It's okay. I was thinking about Brian Cage's sweet sideburns. But you also have like Christian Cage, you got Brian Cage. Like this roster is deep. Big Show's debuting. Then you have like the odd ones like QT Marshall. Like who does he blow on a daily basis to keep his job? Because that dude doesn't like that dude is the modern day Disco Inferno. Like everyone kind of knows him, but no one really likes him.
Yeah, man, you got him. You got some of these tag teams. The Butcher and the Blade, and all that, and you know,
The Butcher, the Blade.
yeah. I'm sure Sonny Kiss is still employed. Um,
They got Brian Pillman, Anthony Bowens. They got potential. They got Sting.
yeah, they got freaking Angelico and Jack Evans.
Yup. And of course, they just brought in CM Punk. That's the big one. But come this Sunday, I think it's this Sunday. Sunday. We might be getting someone else entirely. In one Amdrag. That's the American Dragon for those you uncultured swines that don't know what's on the up and up. We're talking Bryan Danielson, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan, possibly showing up on Sunday. Now, on Punk's Dynamite debut, which I still hate that name for a show. It's so bad. It's so dumb. But whatever. We're 2.5 years in. It's not changing. Punk alluded to on his Dynamite debut that the fans were chanting yes, and Punk replied with, you might have to wait just a little bit longer for that one. Confirming Daniel Bryan to AEW, which we kind of already knew. Now, this whole thing right now with Bryan coming in to a stacked roster, it's huge for the promotion. It's huge for the brand, and it's going to pop a rating. But I want to ask you, is this a case of Bryan being able to fit on the roster with so much already there? Or do you think that, unlike Punk, who's a genuine needle mover, that Bryan will end up getting lost in the fluff, so to speak, like some of the other guys? Because I just saw Pac, England Pac, E-Pac, wrestling on the YouTube show. That's not good. So, what do you think? Is Bryan a case of too much of a good thing, or is he one of those guys that you can justify putting him ahead of everyone else? In your opinion.
Right now, I'm leaning on too much of a good thing because the difference between him and Punk is obviously we haven't seen Punk in the ring for 7 years.
That's
Uh,
true.
obviously, Bryan had his time, and then, he thought he was done, and then he got a chance to come back and have, several instances of a run with WWE. And obviously, we've seen, both of their lives expand outside the ring, but, he's a dad of two now, married, and that whole thing. And like I said, there's a 7 year absence with Punk, and then people just been waiting on bated breath, for that guy to come back. Where is Bryan is a super addition to any roster, but like you said, with AEW is so packed, I think it's easy to kind of do a burst thing with him, where it's like, oh my God, we got Punk and Bryan in the same thing, and then I think eventually that's gonna die down just by sheer force of the law of averages.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, you got to keep all these balls in the air, and there's a lot going on. You got Punk focusing on Allen, who's also with Sting, or we go potentially see Punk, conquer the Kid and then move on to the OG, or him not beat the Kid, but then still want to fight the OG, and then stuff like that. And then you got Christian in the mix. Like you said, Big Show may be in and out of the mix, and stuff of that nature. So they not to leave out guys like Moxley and Kingston and other names. So it's It's definitely front load. I think I was like I said, I think him coming in and do a lot up front, but then I think that's gonna wane because you got Jericho, you got MJF, you got freaking Warlow. It's a lot of things. I mean, obviously the second show was necessary, but I still don't know if they're gonna be able to keep all these balls in the air the way they need to be. You know.
AEW should genuinely consider moving Rampage to 2 hours and possibly adding maybe another pay-per-view or two a year because they're just too loaded. And you're not even just loaded with prospects. Like, this isn't SmackDown and Raw in 2002 where, like, yeah, you had a few key main event guys and a lot of guys to build up. Most of their talent are on the other side of 35. Maybe not most, but a lot. Like, Brian Cage is closer to 40 than he is 30. Christian's pushing 50. Sting's in his 60s. Big Show's pushing 50. Punk's in his early 40s. Bryan is 40. You know, like, these aren't guys with a long shelf life. And then the guys behind them that you would, you know, be thinking about promoting up the ladder, Pentagon's got to be 36 by now, right? Like, these aren't young pups. And Darby Allin's style is so egregious that he's probably going to be done by 40 if he gets to 40. So they need to find a way to utilize all of this roster in a much better cohesive movement. And I think some of that might be telling guys like Hangman Page and the Young Bucks to get the fuck out of the way. Because as of right now, I don't give a shit about the Young Bucks, and I don't know anyone who does anymore because they're so oversaturated. I would rather see former WCW Tag Team Champions, The Big Show and Sting, win them belts and go on and have like a 4-month title reign than I would to see another overly processed, overly produced, just stupid fucking looking Young Bucks match.
Man, give me a Legends thing. Give me a Legends feud between Sting and Christian for me at this point.
Go back to 2006 and finally have the match we never got.
Yeah.
Because Christian kabonged Sting in the head. 06, Sting left off and Cage had Jarrett's guitar and he smashed him in the dome piece. That's your cabeza. You know what I would love to see? Oh, I didn't even care. And like, there's a part of you, Marcus, that already knows what I'm about to say. Do the feud and have Sting win the Impact World title. I don't care if he's 62. Do I sound like someone who gives a fuck?
Yeah, that might be one of the instances where, like, I know he doesn't go there, but it's Sting.
Right? Like, all right, we welcome transfer students now. We welcome.
Just for one night only, him to re-debut as Joker Sting for one night only back in Impact. But that's just mainly just for me and Chad. He was like, "That's the stupidest gimmick ever." I'm like, first off, we live in the era where Karrion Kross is a BDSM guy. Apparently, don't tell me about gimmicks, okay?
Crisscross Applesauce looks like he's one of the extras from the original Mad Max movies. Lord Humongous, I think his name was.
Yes.
That's what he looks like. So yeah, give me Sting title shot. Another guy who could be debuting on All Out is none other than Mr. Bebe himself, Britt Baker's better half, although both people have terrible hairlines, I'm saying it, and are about as charismatic as one another. You know, this is a family that really enjoys mashed potatoes, rice, and plain chicken. And I don't even mean like good rice. I mean just rice. Like non-flavored, non-buttered, non-salt, non-garlic rice. Their dessert is air. Their favorite drink is water. Their favorite show used to be Bob Ross, but they found that it has gotten too extreme for them. Because they are Blandy McBlanderson and the Blanderson sisters. They are the worst example of how to not build a star. I know Britt Baker got a pop in Pittsburgh, but the fact she only gets a pop in Pittsburgh tells you who she is and what she's about, which is she's not that interesting and no one really cares. I mean, Cole had to tag on with the damn Elite just to get over. Dude held the Ring of Honor title 3 times and no one cared until he started rubbing shoulders with Cody. Kind of gives you an idea who he is. Michael Bennett debuting in 2 different promotions with banger music. And Maria Kanellis' inability to say miracle properly was more over than anything Adam Cole has ever done. No, I'm not going to go that far. Adam Cole's more over than Matt Taven. If there's one person who embraces the absence of personality and charisma more than Adam Cole, it's Matt Taven. And like half the WWE roster. But I digress. I don't care about Adam Cole. Him showing up, I hope, is the biggest flop in the history of big names. I don't want anyone to cheer because I want them to all realize that he is off-brand Shawn Michaels. We went to the store to get Cocoa Puffs, and instead we got Cocoa Balls. And no one wants Cocoa Balls. We want Cocoa Puffs, goddammit. And don't tell me we already have Cocoa Puffs at home because that ain't Cocoa Puffs, lady.
Yeah, it's every time anything's labeled diet, I realize they put something in it to make you taste that it's diet.
Well, how do you think they get you to, go on a diet? They make it undrinkable. Here's diet something or other. Ugh, this is disgusting. I'm going to just drink water. Haha, we've succeeded. And Adam Cole will make a lot of people go on AEW diets, especially if you make them talk. Boy, he was part of the Undisputed Era. A stable so generic and just dumb that they rehashed everything the Four Horsemen did, but less impressive. At least with like Immortal, they had the Jay Lethal woo-off. I know people don't remember that, but they were in the background of that. Then, of course, they had like the big turn on Immortal, which actually was a huge fucking pop for Orlando. But like, can you name one big moment that the Undisputed Era had?
But Chad, they redefined war games.
No, they didn't. They made it dumb. War Games had a cage and a top. And the cage is bent and broke with the bodies. So like it looked like it wasn't some fucking processed, diseased monkey butt. I don't know. I'm running out of adjectives to describe how stupid I thought the new War Games is. I still think the new War Games is stupid. Lethal Lockdown was a better concept. Mostly because you could jump off the fucking thing. So, like, I don't know, man. Undisputed Era, ugh. They're bland. Like, every feud they had was bland. And maybe that was their issue. Because, like, no, their issue is that they're bland as shit. Because, like, I like Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong's a decent dude. But the 4 of them together couldn't cut. And I mean this. I mean this sincerely. If you took every promo that those 4 cats have had, will have had, and have done already, push them together, not one of them combined has cut a promo that has been as good as someone like The Rock's. And I'm not counting an entire Rock promo. I mean 12 seconds of any given Rock promo has been better than everything the Undisputed Era have done collectively as a whole on the mic. There is a reason why Jake Paul is the #1 boxer in the world, because talent is unnecessary. Marketing, promotion, personality. Those things will always draw. Those things will always sell. You will always show up to see that. People were actually like, hey, Tyrone Woodley could beat Jake Paul. And anyone who's ever watched Tyrone Woodley fight knows that no, he couldn't. Tyrone Woodley throws fucking pillow hands. Boy, he's a hell of a wrestler, which is why he won all those MMA fights. I know this because I cover MMA for a living. I know what I'm talking about. But I digress. I look at Adam Cole. I don't give a shit how good he works. How does he talk? Who's his personality? What's he like? Bland.
Chad's like, Cole, your entire career has been a split decision. Oh.
I don't know what that's from, and I'm mad about it. I should.
No, I was just using the voice and then basically relaying it to that fight that Paul won by split decision.
Oh, okay. See?
I don't know if you. But I don't know if you get more on the ropes than he was when he was on the ropes. Like, oh my God, he hit me. He hit me.
The memes that came out of that one punch were perfect. When she dropped that ass and he just I don't know if that should have been scored as an knockdown. I don't know if it was. It should have been. I definitely think it should have been. When you go horizontal, I don't give a shit if the rope's holding you up. Well, yeah, no, I was right. Horizontal, that's the right one. That fight was definitely not a split decision. Paul won decisively, but yeah, Woodley tagged him.
In that moment, he reminded me of was he the one black dude in the first Mortal Kombat movie that fought Goro?
Oh, the guy everyone thought was Jax.
That was not Jax. He had set up the arm thing when Goro. I don't know why you would throw two punches at a dude throw punches at somebody that got four arms, but yeah, it was not good.
No, it wasn't.
Speaking of, that second Mortal Kombat movie dropped.
Wait, they already released a second one? Oh, the animated one.
Yeah, not the
okay. Because I was about to say.
At this point, acknowledging that live action is fraudulent.
You know, I'm still waiting for a sequel to that 94, 95 Mortal Kombat movie because everything that's come out since then, I don't acknowledge. Period. Bounce. Period.
But if you had to debut Cole, like they paying you to
oh, God.
as a booker, as a guy who has to write this guy onto the show, and you have to debut him because they're paying you enough to be like, screw it. How you do it?
Okay, so I'm throwing three things against the wall, and I want to see if any of them sticks because I'm combining them all into one idea, Marcus. So let me set up a question. Do you how good is your NBA draft history? Would you say you're pretty versed in some of the bigger busts in the history of the game?
Well, I know in this particular conversation to stay away from anybody last name Brown.
Kwame! He can come after me all he wants. He was trash.
Don't say it 3 times or he's going to murk us via YouTube.
Kwame Brown. See nothing. Oh my
God! Not in particular with the draft stuff. I think that's definitely like.
So what I want you to do is do a Google search. For everyone else, you might know because I don't know why you would. I'm just assuming. Yeah. If you don't know, look this name up. His name is Adam Morrison.
Okay.
So what I want to do is have Cole shave his ugly beard and go with the wispy mustache. And then he's going to cut his hair to give himself bad, like 14, 20. Like, remember the Three Musketeers movie with Chris O'Donnell and Kiefer Sutherland? Not Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland was in that. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Do you remember the prince in that movie with the jacked up nose and the dumb haircut?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
We're giving Cole that haircut. We're giving him the pencil thin mustache. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I'm tanking this idea. I'm not, but I am delighting in the idea of making Cole look like a douche. Then we're going to give him black slacks, a white shirt, and a black tie, but the white shirt's going to stop at his bicep. We're not going full long sleeve. Think Stevie Richards' white shirt. We're changing his name from Adam Cole to Adam Mormon. He's going to come down with the Book of Adam, because I'm not that dumb. I ain't that dumb. And he's going to be kind of a right-to-censor like zealot, where he's going to ban dangerous maneuvers, scantily clad women, and vulgar chants at wrestlers. And he's going to start calling people like Sting and Darby Allin satanic and demonic. If that doesn't get him over as a heel, I'm going to invest in $1 billion rocket, a $2 billion space station, I'm going to put Adam Cole with me in the rocket. We're going to go up to the space station, and then I'm going to push him out of a fucking airlock. Because if I can't get him over with that kind of a gimmick, then he is getting overable. And I already think that, so, you know, let's just save the hassle, drop $3 billion, and push him out of an airlock. Huzzah? Huzzah. How would you book Adam Cole?
Yeah,
And if the words are, I wouldn't. I'm just gonna hug you from a distance.
that's the first option, but I came up with an honorary
Okay.
because it's you. I was just gonna debut him after a big Britt Baker win, but then have him super kicker and take Rebel.
See, I like that idea. Another idea I thought of, but can be completely unbelievable, is he and Rebel and Britt Baker are in a throuple. But then I realized he doesn't have enough money to pay for Britt Baker to pretend to be his girlfriend. How can he afford 2 women? So we had to scrap the idea. Believability is king, folks. Like believing that a 145-pound, 5'6" dude can actually beat up a heavyweight. We are stretching the imagination with that one. One person we don't need to think about the idea of believability is Gable Stevens. That's his name, right? Gable Stevens? Let me double check. Yeah, Gable Stevens. First and foremost, naming your child something Abel or just Abel already makes you a home run. It's like naming your son Brock. You are setting him up for one goal in life: brutality. He was born and you chose danger. Violence was thrust upon him out of the womb.
Shout out to Jax.
Unfortunately, it does track to him too. Abel was met with nothing but violence. His mommy got stabbed with a meat fork.
Jesus.
Right? Isn't that what Gemma used? Like one of those long meat forks that you used to like carve shit with?
Yeah, isn't he the one that got the rings? She gave him the rings, right?
I'm pretty sure. That's going to be one of those things where Abel's going to turn like 40, make a deal with the devil, and go find his grandmother because he's got some words. That's the new plot of Dante's Inferno. Abel goes looking for his mom in hell, or grandmother in hell, I mean. So we have a new class of WWE prospects, and I want to be very clear. I know NXT's not recruiting indie guys anymore. We'll talk about that here in a second. But I think they got 2 real interesting prospects in that Brock Lesnar lookalike kid that was hanging out with Eva Marie. I forget his name. You know who I'm talking about, though? It's like
Yeah, I seen
Bordeaux or Brodo or something like that.
Yeah, I was like, man, if he's not related to Brock, Brock should adopt him or something. Just for proof of concept.
I'm pretty sure he is related to Brock. I'm pretty sure Brock has like 20,000 children in this country. Brock just hunts. That's all he does. And if he can't hunt deer, what do you think he's hunting?
Brock's like, I'm going home and ride my wife.
That poor woman. So we got a few names coming in alongside those guys. We got Bordeaux or Brockdo or whatever his name is. We got Rick Steiner's son, Bronson Steiner, who I wish was still in the NFL because like he had a brief dalliance with the Ravens last year. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in NXT. He's actually a guy that I would tune in to see, by the way. But we got some other names coming in. We have Brady Booker, who is a former middle linebacker from South Dakota. Again, like this is one of those things where we talked about the WWE was going to start focusing on quote unquote real athletes. This is that trend. We have Joshua Dawkins from the Dudley Boys School, apparently. We have Jessica Wine. What is that name? Wynelko? That's as good as I'm going to get. She's a gymnast, bodybuilder, and CrossFit athlete, so she's blonde and fit and toned, so she's Mandy Rose, essentially. Then we have Ben Buchanan, the son of the great Bull Buchanan. And if Ben Buchanan's first storyline in pro wrestling isn't him attacking John Cena, I don't want to be involved in this show anymore, Marcus. That is such a deep cut feud. I don't think anyone remembers it. Do you remember when Bull Buchanan and John Cena were a tandem?
No, John Cena. Was this an OVW?
No, this was like This is like right after Cena tried to sleep with Stephanie on the Halloween edition of SmackDown. I think they called him like Double B or B squared. No, it was B squared. That's what it was. B squared.
I vaguely remember B squared.
And then Buchanan ended up joining, or like they did that awful like, I think it was like This Is Your Life with Cena. And like Bull Buchanan came out and he's like, ever since I tagged with you, I got fired. My life is so depressing, and it was like really stupid and bad, and it was awful. I hope fucking Ben Buchanan just rage quits all over on John Cena's face. I think that would be amazing. Bring him back a 20-year-old gimmick idea. Just don't call him B squared. Don't. We also got Joseph Fatu. He is the younger brother of Jimmy and Jay Uso. And according to this, he does not have an arrest record. Yet. We'll see. He's apparently 240 pounds at 6'2". That's a big dude. Homie could be playing linebacker. Well, actually, linebackers aren't that heavy anymore.
And the MLW champion is what, their cousin?
Yeah. Jacob Fatu.
If they ever actually did like a faction where all of them were there.
Marcus,
Like
don't even, because what you're describing is a company, a promotion, because there's like a fucking 100 of them.
No, but then they go against Tonga Loa,
Tonga, yeah, that'd be awesome.
And then their father comes out. Now that's a fight.
I wonder if any of them are related.
Hikuleo.
I don't think Ming's related to them, because I don't think Ming is Samoan. But like that would be interesting.
Like you put those two families on opposite sides of a ramp, and then just put the Rock in the middle, and I feel like something connects.
And there'd be a great idea for a feud there, because a lot of the like Hikuleo and Tongaloa. No. Tamatonga and Tongaloa, I think, are adopted siblings. And I think Hikuleo is... I think he's biologically Ming's. But, like, you could easily... like, because, like, in this idea, the bloodline, because that's their name, and it's fucking stupid, whatever. But, like, I could see them going, like, you guys aren't even real family. We're a real family. And then, like, Ming will be like, So I heard you were looking to die soon. How may I help? And like that could be like the catalyst of like the rivalry. Like family's more than just DNA. And then Tom Tonga kills them all in 3 minutes because I don't fucking care about the Usos and Roman Reigns. Although I will mark out for Tama Tonga. If Tama Tonga ever did like a children's puppet show at 6:30 in the morning, you know what I'm doing at 6:29 in the morning? Waking my ass up. That would be hilarious, especially if it's unfiltered. And then this little bitch walked into the bar and I just smacked him down.
Oh, I had to take a little break from New Japan because it was freaking me out that he literally had a baby face.
Oh, I know.
Jesus, man, this is freaking me out. Then he grew it back. I was like, oh, thank God.
Speaking of thank God, have you seen that photo of that cop who looks like the fucking Rock?
Yo, bruh, that is... Damn, I forgot to retweet that. This shit was gnarly, man. Jesus, that was crazy.
You know what I hope is true about that? That The Rock, just like Shaquille O'Neal, like moonlights as a cop, and no one believes that it's actually Dwayne Johnson.
It's
like whenever anyone goes like, "Dude, you look like Dwayne Johnson. Are you really The Rock?" And The Rock just goes, "Yeah, I am." And they're like, "No, you're not."
It's too close of a photo, and I said this earlier, but next to the skating thing with Beyblade, this is the freakiest thing we saw all year with wrestling related.
Yup.
That nuts.
You know what's even crazier? I'm pretty sure the cop might be a little bit more jacked.
I know. That's even.
I didn't know humanity could expand that far without like breaking like muscular from My Hero.
I'd just be pulling people over at random, just walking up to their car and cutting promo.
Here's the thing. We're both thinking that this dude looks, talks, struts, and acts like The Rock.
Yeah, he sounds like he sounds like Duncan when he talks.
Duncan.
Tell your boy Tim Duncan.
Oh, okay. All quiet and shit. No, he
Oh,
sounds like the Undertaker from Superman Commando.
that's
Excuse me. Do you know why I pulled you over today?
oh shoot! Oh, he sounds like Toka or Razor.
Nah.
Yeah.
They're babies. Stupid babies. They're not stupid babies. Flunk. Okay, so they're a little stupid. All right, speaking of stupid, I'm always right. Don't ever doubt me. I said Goldberg looked like he was limping something fierce on SummerSlam. Granted, no one challenged me on this, but still, victory lap time. Apparently, Goldberg needs to have knee surgery. Now, the idea is to still have him at the Saudi Arabia show in, what is that, October? But I guess the new idea is that Goldberg won't be wrestling for the title so much as he'll be wrestling for revenge. So I'm kind of bummed because I want Goldberg to win the world title every time he wrestles for the world title. I don't care if he destroys the Fiend or Bobby Lashley or whoever else. To me, they nothing but building blocks for me to get my dream again, which is see Goldberg with a belt around his waist. But then I got to remember, it's either a blue belt or a red belt, and either way, he looks like an idiot.
Sorry, man. I can't put the Power Kinetic Wonder ahead of Blurby. I can't do it.
You're sticking with the culture?
This dude came from having. I just can't forget that segment that Sami Zayn called out his um
His sisters.
non-binary sisters. I guess that's the safest way to say it.
Fugly ass bitches.
That too. Fugly ass bitches. Came from that to where he's at now. The decline. Shoot. But yeah, I mean that's hilarious that he actually needs surgery, considering that he forgot to sell a leg spot.
See, I don't think he forgot. I'm still blaming that segment on MVP because he stood there for a good 20 seconds while Lashley yelled at the ref. And you could see Goldberg look at MVP and then look back at the ref. And then he took a step forward thinking that MVP maybe forgot the spot. And then that's when MVP tagged him. And like Goldberg looked at him like, now? Oh, yeah. But like, yeah, it's a bad, it's like just, bad moment. But like, all right, I'm fine with Goldberg smashing Lashley. Belt or not, but like one more run until the next one, please. I would love to see Goldberg go to AEW, or Impact. If Goldberg's like, yeah, I'll go to Impact, I'm just gonna throw all the money I can at him, and then like all the belts. Be like, I don't care what we're doing with Josh Alexander. You want to be the X Division champion and the Knockout champion, and you want to be world champion. It's not like Christian Cage can beat you up in ring or otherwise. It's like, yeah, just, here's all the belts. You want to be tag team champions with your 15-year-old son? Go for it. Can we get rights with him first? Because I'd like to turn him into the next Goldberg.
Speaking of irresistible forces, though, did you see Nia Jax's two-piece Charlotte?
Oh, I did.
That was crazy.
I was going to talk about that tonight, but wait, we got a loaded show. But like, so what? Not what culture? Jitsu, Powerbomb Jitsu. Excuse me. They're going ham hock on this whole thing, going, yeah, but where were you guys all when Charlotte got people injured? And I just want to say, sitting here, saying the same shit. we don't discriminate with the shit talking here. If you are fucking up, we're going to address it. Charlotte and Nia Jax are arguably two of the worst wrestlers on that roster, and I've never pretended otherwise. We have, granted, you're going to go through all the hours of dumb content we produced over the last decade. Actually, longer than that. But I've more than out there said that Charlotte Flair is far from a good in-ring worker. She's all name brand. She is literally just her father's daughter. That's the only reason people like her. She can't cut a promo. You know, she's not. I want to phrase this correctly because there's a proper way of saying this. She's not very marketable. It's not so much about attraction, but there's a uniqueness and a look that people look for to promote, and she don't have it. In the ring, she's not very good, but then again, most of the WWE women aren't, but we get told that they are ad nauseum, that people believe it. Like, I know people like Sasha Banks, but here's the truth of any pro wrestler. If you hurt yourself so many times doing the things you do, the only thing you can draw from that conclusion is you're not very good at your job. And I know Sasha Banks does all these dumb fucking stunts, and she dives to the ring and to the floor, and she nearly breaks her neck every goddamn time. Well, that means she's not very good at doing it, and she should stop. But she doesn't. She persists, which makes me think she's not very good at her job. Bayley's very unathletic. Becky Lynch has no real personality. She just talks like she's got marbles in her mouth. And as someone who has mushmouth syndrome, I understand that. That sucks, but whatever. She's not very good in the ring. I don't know why anyone likes her. Like, she only ever got over because Nia Jax broke her face. Nia Jax, Star Maker. Why is that not her nickname? Why is that not her entire gimmick? You only got over because of me. Oh, God, so much money left on the table. All those Monopoly dollars just sitting there waiting for someone to claim.
I think they did that, but then they made them do the match like 15 times back to back. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to take your word for it because God knows I don't know that product. That show sucks. But like, most of these women aren't very talented. They're athletic, sure. Not Bayley. But the rest of them are. Like Mandy Rose and the other one, Liv Morgan. They're the same person. I've never seen them in the same place together, and you can't tell me that they're not the same person. But like, what are they? Oh, they're athletic models. I mean, that's all they are. Asuka's like the only genuinely good worker they have. Natty used to be good, but you can tell the years of sitting at catering have really affected her knees. Oh no, seriously, she's slowed down quite a bit. Asuka's slowing down too. Like, they're both like, Natty's 40, I think. Asuka's 38, 37. And these women have been wrestling since they were teens. Like, it's like same, like, every time someone says this, I want to just smack them, but it's like, oh, Ray hasn't lost a step. Motherfucker, he's lost so many steps, people think that he's missing. Just because you still like Ray doesn't mean that he hasn't lost a step. Have you seen him in 1997 to now? Now he looks like he's kind of like... He looks like Tim Duncan trying to play basketball in the last year of his career. Very slow, prodding, far from what he was. Or Michael Jordan with the Wizards. I know a lot of people kind of forget about that. But Michael, like, barely dunked in his last year in games. Like, when he did it, it was like, and then you see like how hard he lands, and he's like, that's Ray. Like, these knees take a pounding, folks. Like, that's why Ben Askren, granted he was an amateur wrestling, not pro wrestling, but that's why Ben Askren needs 2 hip replacements. This is wrestling, even if in a professional wrestling ring, takes its toll on your body. So, you know. The women need to be revitalized, more talent. Marcus, do you think Charlotte Flair's a good worker? Do you think any of those women are good workers?
I think Charlotte can be when she wants to turn it on. She's like Orton in that way.
Well, see, that's where we disagree because I don't think Orton's ever turned it on. I'm still looking at Orton as a house, and I'm like, well, he's never turned it on. His house just sits there. It's always dark. Like his soul.
I think his feud with Christian was a highlight of 2011, but that had more so to do with Christian and him. But because he made him level up in that way. With Charlotte, I mean, it's not a debate that she has one of the worst moonsaults ever. I was talking with somebody else. I was like, I think Punk has like a horrendous elbow drop, but it's still behind her moonsault. Yeah, but I do think she's overrated. A lot of it's got to do with character. A lot of people, do the whole championship number thing, which we know means nothing because, again, we say it's the length of the reign and not the number of times you won the belt. As far as other people, obviously Sasha can do her thing, but she could dial it back. Bailey's finally found her stride in terms of character, but like you said, she's probably the least athletic of them. Becky has never done anything for me in the ring. Um, but watching her, I guess, grow into that man character was, I guess, something to look at but most of that had to do because she's never done anything for me in terms of in ring. So not saying that she can't do anything, it just doesn't. Her style doesn't excite me at all. So
Yeah, most of those individuals on that women's brand over there doesn't excite me at all. I don't know why that is. I think it's because they're so, what's the word I'm looking for? Homogenized. I know I mispronounced that, but it's like they're any uniqueness is baked out of those individuals. Like,
yeah,
go back and see if you can find it. It was the now named Ruby Soho taking on Kimberly and Shakara, and watch that match. Watch how good those two are. They were fantastic. And then watch how they were in NXT, and with Ruby right on the main roster. Like, there was nothing unique about them. It's sad that they do this to their talents, and the women aren't the only ones, but they're the ones at top of it right now. That's why I'm mentioning that. But let's move on because we got to talk about another lady personality, another femme fatale, Paige. She's all like, "Hey, I ain't done yet. I'm the pager, and I'm not done yet." Talking to fans on stream, apparently. I had to look up who the source was, and it's just her on Twitch. She said, quote, "I'm not effing done. I'm not done yet. This is going to be my comeback story." Well, I'm pretty sure we already saw that story with Xavier Woods and Garrett Bischoff, or whatever the fuck his name is. Ba-dum-tsh. That was both a shot at her sex tape and also the entirety of that one line from Parks and Rec that was improvised and cut from the release of the episode. Because they're like, we need a... Did you ever see that with Andy?
yeah,
So basically the setup is Andy and company are sitting there, and Rashida Jones and Amy Poehler are asking everyone in character, like, we need examples of a comeback story. And Andy goes, Kim Kardashian. And they're like, well, we don't think she ever had a comeback story. And she's like, no, she got come on her back in the movie. And then everyone starts slapping at Andy and laughing. So yeah, Paige, what's up? Anywho, she wants to have a comeback story. She says, okay, mentally, I'm ready to go. I'm going to start working around, getting in the ring a little bit. Maybe we'll see. This is not saying I'm making a comeback tomorrow. It's a long effing road. I still have to get cleared by the doctors. I have to get cleared by WB. It's such a big process, but emotionally, I'm ready. The past few months, I didn't think I was emotionally ready, but no, I'm effing ready to get back on the horse, even if it takes me a year, one step at a time. Build it to what it's exactly what I'm doing. That's the journey, and it's going to take some time. She said, I'm inspired. I'm so inspired by the people coming back to wrestling, and the more I think about it, the more I'm okay mentally. I'm ready to go. Now, Paige has been kind of we'll just say a Laurel Van Ness over the last 5 years because she's been a hot mess. Her relationship with Alberto Del Rio kind of showed that she and Del Rio both have substance issues that they need to work on. Hopefully, Paige is still on the straight and narrow if she is at all. I don't know if she is at all, so I don't want to sit here and speculate that she is or isn't. But she was acting out very irrationally. That's not something you want to bring to the table when you're talking about neck injuries. If she does come back, I'd be all for it. Because I feel like, even though she's young, I think she's not even 30 yet. She might actually only be like 28. Even though she's young, I feel like she hasn't really had her time to shine yet. She's been around the game for a long time. And she had a few good years in the WWE, but the neck injuries kind of just curtailed her. She's 29. So she's got a lot of road ahead of her. If she wants it. Who knows what she wants in life? Because I think she's married. Or at least dating someone. But the question is she capable of coming back with her neck? Now, with Christian, it was a concussion issue. Sting had, I think, spinal stenosis, I think is what ended up happening with him, and he had to have neck surgery. Sheamus has a very bad neck and had to have neck surgery. I don't know if that's the same thing Paige has going on or if it's a concussion-based thing. We knew that, who was it? Sasha kicked her in the neck or in her spine, and that's what ended her career. I think is how I remember it going. But do you think she should even try coming back at this point?
Yeah, man, I don't knock her for trying at all, man. Sometimes it starts in the mind, and I would imagine it's hard to go through everything she's been through, specifically with that whole the leaks of it all and the El Patron relationship, and then that whole thing about the Twitch thing with WWE, which she was very vocal about, um, and that's aside from the fact that her having to watch those guys that were essentially done come back and do their thing. I feel like she her career got cut off, and she got unceremoniously sidelined in several different instances. Um, so I don't begrudge her for trying at all. I would just caution. I mean, I think it's good to know that she knows it's a climb and not a sprint. Um, because it's just so sensitive right now. I mean, obviously her career's on the line in one instance, but ultimately her life is on the line because Edge always talks about like even with his condition that it's in now, it's still like one wrong move and it's all over. He doesn't walk home to his family, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that sensitive. You got to be mindful. It's just I know her whole thing is I've literally been wrestling since I was in the womb because obviously with her mom, but and obviously she's found something to occupy her time a lot in her Twitch community. But she like a lot of those guys, man, it's unfinished business for her. So I can't begrudge her, and I wouldn't necessarily want to champion her to go back to WWE with the deplorableness that has become their women's division on both sides. But again, it's all she's known.
So let me ask you this then. If you had to pick a place for her, would it be WWE? Would it be AEW? And if so, what kind of schedule do you think she could handle? Do you think she could do full time in AEW?
Man, I actually might have put in NWA honestly. I think AEW is cool and everything. Obviously, they got a lighter schedule, but like I said, it's so tentative with her neck. I don't know because we saw Britt have a hellacious battle with who that was. Was that Thunder Rosa? She had a hellacious battle with like a hardcore style match.
I think so.
I don't think that would be in Paige's best interest to do.
Well, but you also got to keep in mind, like, yeah, they got Thunder Rosa, and that's a pretty violent encounter, and you got Nyla Rose, that's pretty violent. But then again, on the WWE side of things, you got fucking Nia Jax. The walking calamity.
That's what I said. I think I might actually put her in like I guess a happy medium for me with her would be NWA. But again, right, she will want to come back in a big way, and the biggest way you could do it is obviously WWE or AEW.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I'd be thinking the safety because the next is just such a fragile thing. So I don't know. I mean, that's ultimately what retired Nikki too, in a lot of ways. She had to change her whole move set or specifically a finisher around that. So it's just a tentative thing, but I don't begrudge her. But I think she would uh, probably want to do it with WWE because you feel like it's unfinished business. I would, if I had to pick between the two, I'd put in AEW because it's just like you look at that women's division, and even as much as we talked about it needs improving, and it does, it still feels better than what's going on in WWE because it's the epitome of stagnation on both sides. Like they literally just allowed they brought Naomi back on SmackDown, and now I guess the storyline is, oh, we forgot you even existed.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not a big Paige fan, but she at least
Yeah.
has more personality in her than most of the signings Impact has had. So like, I wouldn't mind if she goes to Orlando or Nashville or Toronto, wherever the hell Impact has a home base at anymore. I don't know. Speaking of I don't know, NXT is no longer hiring indie talent, but Marcus, we will talk about that in a sec. I gotta ask, what's your thought on this Nextelodian logo?
I don't know. You remember Aristocats, right?
Yeah,
It, it
everybody wants to be a cat.
like that Toulouse painting.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, when he was just throwing stuff together and then rubbed it all in. That's what it looked like. Or it looked like somebody just paintballed it, man. Like it's.
It to me has the vibe. I don't know if you remember like the outro credits of like Rugrats,
Hmm.
but like when they were doing the production studios and the animation studios at the end of the credits, they had that one where it was just like, or am I thinking of the intro to the? No, I think I'm thinking of the intro. It's like the intro to Rugrats where it's like all the like the random ass like lines and colors just kind of flying at you before the title card comes up. That's what it reminds me of. Like that's why I made the meme on Twitter with the NXT logo and the Doug theme song because this basically looks like something straight out of 1993, and not in a good way. I'm expecting like those old surfer sunglasses to come back in a big way, and like the old clap cap baseball caps that they had, like where you like, could adjust the brim, but you had to like take the thing off and like put the little holes through the thing and then readjust it and. Fuck. The early 90s were not a great era. Plus, there's a whole AIDS thing. That sucked. Yeah, the early 90s, no thank you. I'm good. Trash logo. Do you think that the NXT folks and WWE are making the right call with not going after indie wrestlers anymore?
In a way, I think when it came to the Indies thing, it just got to the point where they were just trying to move the needle because obviously what they were going to do with NXT and trying to make it a legit third instance. So it became more popular to just get names than long term prospects that you could grow organically and not piggyback off of existing momentum. So I agree with it in that instance, but I do think certain indie talent because you know we talked about names like Sasha and a couple other names weren't necessarily huge, but they did come off the independents. Um, and then obviously they grew into something that could practically be tailored to being said WWE started them from the ground up in a way. Um, but they basically pillaged the Indies, so I'm kind of and things are kind of getting back to a certain level of consistent on that regard. So I can appreciate that as a fan. I prefer that. Keep their grubby mitts off it. Um, yeah, I feel like they trying to they rather now turn and Triple H talked about this in the past, like make it a place where you could just grab an NFL player, kind of how like they used to do with the Divas. Like you see them in a magazine and they put them in
Mm-hmm.
and put them on TV. Except now they want to do that like with athletes, except make them good. Yeah.
I mean, that to me, that's always kind of like the funniest thing because the athletes historically are the ones who are usually not sticking around. But most of the models they hired have become pretty big names. Trish Stratus, Victoria, Maria, Christy Hemme. I'm just saying, like, they may not have been great in the ring, but they're the ones who found a passion. But yet it's the NFL guys that, Goldberg, not really a big fan of the sport. Baron Corbin's just there collecting the paycheck. I don't think that depressed Baron Corbin gimmick is really a gimmick. I think he's having an episode and I think he needs help. But anyway, yeah, I'm with you because I had this epiphany. Who's the top indie guys right now? We knew 15 years ago who the top indie guys were. We knew 10 years ago who the top indie guys were. But you can't sit here and say anymore that Ring of Honor's an indie. You can't sit here and say MLW's an indie. You can't say that Impact's an indie. So who really are the top indie guys? I know, like, who was it? It's not MLW. It's not NWA. Someone just signed Lee Moriarty. Ring of Honor did. And they're like, yeah, he's a top indie guy. And I'm like, is he? Because, in my mind, we went from Samoa Joe headlining against Kenta Kobashi 2,500 deep. Lee Moriarty, I don't even think has headlined his own show yet. I don't know if he's top indie star. Now you got guys like Warhorse, and maybe you can count Nick Aldis, depending on how you view the NWA. But like, a lot of guys have ties to nationally distributed, broadcast channeled fucking companies now. So I don't know if we actually have any top indie guys. That's gonna, at least not at the level that we used to. Like, no one's clamping at the bit for some guys. Like, maybe you could say I don't even know. Whoever's headlining GCW this week, but like Nick Gage.
Yeah, man, it's funny. It's like, we used to watch, used to know who the top indie guys were because they were the big stars on the PWG shows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if PWG's still doing their thing. And I definitely would imagine they're not right now because that got to be the epitome of non-COVID safety. So
the thing is, most of the guys on the PWG shows, or at least that you would expect to be on the PWG shows, are probably going to be AEW guys.
yeah,
So like, I don't even know if that's the case anymore. So that's going to be something I think I'm going to spend some time looking at after I get some work done tonight. Is indie guys and how they rank. I know there's a lot of them still, but of that value, I don't know. All right, so we're going to switch gears and talk some NWA now. Billy Corgan famously told Impact to screw off. Not surprising, Billy Corgan holds grudges for no reason and kind of been his thing. Ask anyone from the Smashing Pumpkins or who's worked with him with R-Pro or anyone who's ever did a review of his music. Corgan's kind of a chump. That said, he's kept the NWA around, and I don't know if they're even making money. So credit to Corgan. But when talking to the Battleground podcast and the, I guess, re-establishing of a working relationship with Impact, Billy Corgan gave all the props in the world to Mickie James, because why would Corgan himself not view Impact as a possible ally without the help of Mickie James? Because Corgan's kind of narrow-minded, but I digress. Corgan says, well, I think it's all credit to Mickie. She was the one that had the relationships to go back and kind of reopen the door, which from my end was closed due to some business stuff that had gone on. Keep in mind, Corgan doesn't have any ties to any of the management in the company. Now, he's just mad at the name. I digress. Back to the quote. And then Pat Kenny, who works behind the scenes in talent relations, has a long-standing relationship with people in Impact. So apparently Pat Kenny is working with NWA. And so I think it's just kind of mended the fence, and we found some business to do together, and they've been a great partner in this. Obviously, Daniel Protz is going to be on the pay-per-view, and it's a real honor. Let's not forget, I worked for the championship, so that championship means a lot to me. So to have it on an NWA show is a great honor. Marcus, can we expect, hope, or will ourselves into seeing more NWA and Impact, knowing that Corgan's now made nice with Impact?
yeah. I mean, I'm hoping so, man. Like, obviously his time with Impact is what it was. Some good, bad, and all that in between. But I mean, now's more time than ever. People need to collaborate. I mean, with Impact, we got what, AEW, New Japan,
AAA,
AAA,
the NWA,
yeah. Now extension it with NWA. I don't
KFC, AMC,
why that whole thing
AAA.
should. It absolutely should continue. I mean, look what it's done for Deanna. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't try to headline a show with, Deanna and
Mickie.
that and Camille.
Ah.
Because that's a powerhouse, big, stack chick, and then Deanna is the body assassin point. A la Grisham, Saber Jr. In a certain regard. So, I think those are two matchups that you definitely want to see. So, to me, that's just money. That's money, man. And with the NWA trying to build the stuff up, obviously they're going in a new direction, thankfully, with certain things. Like you said, just let the old grudges go, man, and just do what's good for business. And all this collaboration is good for business.
I know you meant John Gresham, but for some reason when you said Gresham, I was like, why are you talking about the old WWE announcer? What? Ugh. All right, so we're gonna run through some of the big moments from this NWA week, and then we're gonna talk about the rest of the card. So NWA Empower. I didn't get photos of this, but I do want to talk about them individually, or at least lumped together. The Perazzo Molina title match and the Camille Layla Hirsch title match, really good. I like both of them. They told very different stories. Perazzo went after Molina's knee, and I don't know if Molina really does have a torn ACL. I never believe that because I've had a torn ACL. But my torn ACL is also torn MCL and a torn PCL. So, I don't know. Maybe it was the more violent nature of my knee injury. But you don't do anything on a torn ACL. Like, you can walk. But any lateral movement, any type of jumping, leaping, stomping, kicking, punching, anything that thrusts the leg in any direction is death to your leg. So I don't buy the she had a torn ACL gimmick. It may have been a partially torn ACL, which is a vastly different thing than a complete torn ACL, but I digress. But I liked the idea of Molina not having a full knee and Perazzo just banging away on that sumbitch to the point where they're like, they need to call the match. They need to call the match. Ah. I thought it was great, even if I thought the commentary was ass.
Yeah, the commentary being ass is definitely knocks this show down a little grade by the time we get to it. But yeah, I really dug both these matches, specifically the story with this one. Because it was cool to see Melina get in there and do her thing. She got emotional during her entrance because of the love she got, rightfully so. And it was just good. Like I said, they told a really great story, specifically towards the end, with her almost getting out of there. But like I said, freaking Deanna, man, with the Sabre Jr., John Grisham type of styles, like, I can grab anything and make you tap. So, yeah, it was some good stuff, and she kept that cockiness throughout the whole thing, as she, has been doing. That's a story. That's honestly a story they can keep going if they want to. They tell it right. So.
I wouldn't mind that. Melina is 42, but she really hasn't lost a step. She was one of those. The phrase high floor comes to mind. When we talk about athletics, and especially with athletes in like the NBA, MLB, and all that, we talk about how high is their ceiling. How limitless are they? Melina was never that athletic, so her ceiling was never that high. But she was always good enough in a way that doesn't diminish like one does. If you were to ignore Christian's hairline and just put match to match now to 2006, when he was probably at his best, you aren't going to see a difference in that style. Now, that's not because Christian is somehow a god who defies the laws of time. It's because the dude is about as athletic as a broken stick. But his floor is high enough that even when he does, quote-unquote, get slower or, quote-unquote, loses stuff, you're not going to notice because it's never been his game. When someone like Big E hits 45, he's going to need to lose weight and stop working out as much because his body's going to fall apart. You think about Will Ospreay. He's already changed up his in-ring style because the impact that it has had with being so ultra-athletic has caused him to have a lot of injuries. Ricochet has disappeared off the face of the earth. We don't know where he's gone. I'm just worried about him. Like, that has nothing to do with anything. Have you seen Ricochet? Has anyone seen Ricochet? I don't know who the person masquerading as him on the roster is in Raw, but I digress, though. Melina's like Christian in the sense that she was never so athletic that when she got older and she depreciated physically that she was ever going to, lose too much of what she can do. Yeah. Tessa's going to be one of those women. Tessa was uber athletic, super intense, but by the time she hits 40, she's not going to be as physical. She's not going to be as staunch. She's not going to have it be as crisp. And that's going to be a hindrance. That's why Trish, even though she's, I think, 47 now, could probably come back and still do the same style because her in-ring work was never based off of her athleticism. It was based off of crisp, concise movement, which you don't really lose a lot of until your late 50s. Which is why Sting still looks the same he did in the ring in 2011 as he does now in 2021. Because he can't get any worse. Like, his floor is that high. Like that's he's hit his floor, and his floor is still better than most people's high, or ceiling, I should say. So, I was mildly impressed with Melina, and yeah, I like that didn't go too long either, because like I'm done with the age of 40-minute matches. Like, no, thank you. I can only see 30 kickouts in a match so many times before I want to just not. So Camille and Layla Hirsch had a very different match. Layla Hirsch worked Camille's arm for like a good 6 minutes near the end. I love that. I love that Layla Hirsch was just yanking and pulling and tearing and doing all sorts of nastiness to her shoulder, to Camille's shoulder. I love that. And it was a great way of kind of establishing that, yes, there's a dramatic size difference, but that Hirsch can roll. She can roll with anyone. I like that.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts of that actually came from commentary, which don't expect this to be a thing. One of the guys, when Camille came into the ring, she just walked over and just shoved her. And then one of the guys was like, "Don't need no tape, folks. A picture's worth 1,000 words right there."
And then it was ruined on commentary by 6 people talking over each other at the same time. Oh, don't worry, Velvet. We'll get to you.
Hey there, hi there, ho there. My God damn it, who said what?
Either hi there, ho there. So, main event time. Bob Benciati. Hey, Red, or hey, Hyde, we got the same jacket. I'm a stuntman. I hope I'm Bob Benciati when I'm 50. I do. Minus the hairpiece. Like, that dude pulled in tail. He was hilarious. Kind, always helped people out. Everyone should be like Bob Benciati. I'm just saying. Main event time. Truth be told, I stopped watching because the show was rough. I stopped watching, though, because I don't know what happened, but production failed so hard in this match. And it wasn't even one of those things where like anyone knew what to do. So I want to say it was when Debbie Malenko came down. And it was great to see Debbie Malenko again. There we go. She comes out, and then for some reason, or maybe it was when Debbie Malenko came out, or was it when Genocide? Or Senegal, one of them. But the camera stayed on, I think it was Lady Frost. Like, Lady Frost was hanging around the ringside while everyone was in the ring. And the cameraman's back was to the entrance. And they were trying to cut to see who was getting eliminated, but it just stayed on this camera for 4 or 5 minutes. And they didn't have any individuals come down during this entirety because apparently I think like the entire structure or production setup fell apart for some reason. It was like noticeable, and I just got so tired of watching it. So I'm like, I'm gonna cut out. Like, I know Chelsea Green's gonna win this because the wrestling gods hate me. And then I tune back in and I see Chelsea Green eliminating Tootie Lynn. And I'm like, oh look, I am shocked. So I hated this match. It was a dumb match, and Chelsea Green won, and I hate life because fuck Chelsea Green. I find her so bad. I find her to be the Buff Bagwell of female wrestlers. People like her, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I liked the match, and then she won, and it became null and void.
And then I didn't.
Exactly. And so and again, look, man, those listening, she's your cup of tea. Drink up.
Just don't offer us any.
At all.
Because we will pour that bitch out. Have you seen Ted Lasso yet?
Ted Lasso? No.
Yeah. The Apple show?
Oh, no, not yet.
You should. It's hilarious. But the running gag through the first season is like he goes to England as a football coach because it's basically the story of Major League, essentially. Yeah. The new owner is the ex-wife of the previous owner, and she wants to ruin the team to get back at her husband, so she hires a football coach to coach soccer, knowing full well that he'll end up tanking everything. But he ends up just being so damn likable that everyone loves him. But when he introduces himself to his new boss, she offers him tea, and he's like, sure. And he drinks, and he goes, no, that's a joke. That's water with leaves in it. No, you can't drink this. This is terrible. I don't believe that anyone enjoys this. And then like later on in the end of the season, she offers Ted something to drink, and she goes, would you like some tea, Ted? And he goes, no, I would not. That is flavorless water. And I feel that's Chelsea Green. She is flavorless water. I am good on Chelsea Green. You like flavorless water? You enjoy that. Go for it. Granted, water is flavorless. I understand, but I digress. Over on NWA 73, we got Ric Flair stammering and stuttering for 20 minutes. It was actually like 6, but still. The thing that kind of irked me about this is everyone's like, oh, I'm so glad that he didn't insult the WWE. Why? Are you so much of a fanboy you can't stand it when people tell you the truth about something?
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
Marcus, yeesh. That is
I
some
have hope-
dog walk nonsense.
I have hopes of working there one day, or at least getting in the dome thing. Oh, they're not doing it anymore. Shit.
The Thunderdome. List 30 terrible ideas the WB has had. 2020 and 2021. Fair enough. 2 years encompasses everything. Anyway, so Flair yammered and cried and whatever. Back on NWA Empower, because I forgot which order these matches happened. The Hex defeated Red Velvet and Kylan King. It was a match. Allison Kay is good in about 6 minutes. She's very limited. But I do like the power aspect. And like she had that, I don't know what they call it, but it's like that shotgun pump kick. And she just launched, I think it was Red Velvet. She just launched her across the ring. I was like, oh, that's going to hurt. But like, I don't know. These matches kind of sucked. But Allison Kay and Marty Bell, at least Marty Bell, we're big fans of. Maybe not so much Allison Kay, but we're fans of Marty, and we want to give her props, praise, and salute because she's now the NWA Women's Tag Team Champion, World Women's Tag Team Champion.
Yeah, man, she done came a long way from the Dollhouse, which is a little touch of almost full circle is because the lovely Taryn Terrell was on Empower, so.
And Jade was the other one, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
I think Rebel was a part of the Dollhouse for a minute. Like, literally a minute, like 60 seconds. Who else? Because, like, the Dollhouse wasn't Taryn Terrell originally. Or they were someone afterwards. Fuck. Was the Dollhouse supposed to be with Kong originally?
No, I want to say it was Taryn, because...
Let's see. All right. So the Dollhouse, which were originally Marty Bell and Jade. Jade and Bell debuted on Knockouts, Night of Knockouts edition of Impact, portraying the unstable childlike characters, where Jade lost to Laura Dennis, which is the Bunny, Allie, the Butcher, the Blade, Fire Excalibur. He's awful. And they attacked referee Brian Stifler and Christian Hemme later that night. Jade and Bell helped Taryn Terrell against Awesome Kong, joining the process. So the rest of the first match's group. So, Jade lost to. The rest of the Dallas lost Awesome Kong Brooke in a 3-on-2 handicap match. After Terrell lost the knockout side of the Brooke, Bell challenged Brooke for the championship on the 29th of Impact. She lost again. Officially disbanded on 2016. So I guess you're right. It was just those three. I thought someone took over a stable in that time period. I can't remember. I'd say I'd go watch, but that was one of the roughest time periods in Impact history. So like, I don't know. 2015 was a hard sell. Excuse me. So anyway, you're right, Marcus. Yeah, but good on Marty Bell. Oh, and Medusa was there, if you care. If anyone cares. Deanna Prazo on the 73rd defeated... who'd she defeat? No, she defeated Melina. We already talked about that. So let's talk about the 73rd again. Judas, that's his name, defeated JTG and Rush Freeman, Heartthrob Caden, Captain Yuma. You can't tell me these aren't the name of porn stars. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. Jeremiah Plunkett. Nah, that's just my tax man. Marche Rocket, Sal Renaro, Nick Stanley, El Rudo, Matthew Mims, Slice Boogie, and Luke Hawks. Marcus, do you know who Judas is?
Is it the brother of Mencius?
More like vitamin C is. Oh no. This is a deep cut, and he's been out of wrestling for maybe 9 years. He is Gunner's original tag team partner in Impact.
Hmm.
Do you remember when they had that security? It was Gunner and there's it was a main event Mafia security. It was Gunner and Murphy. Jadaeus was Murphy. And he went by on the Indies. He goes by the name of Mikhail Judas. When was it? 2010. So it wasn't main event Mafia. It was Hogan and Bischoff. No, it was Gunner and Murphy were Dixie Carter's bodyguards before she got betrayed. So yeah, and he got released in October 2011. So it's been a decade since he's been on part of a national group. He was actually with the NWA, though, for the first 9 years of his career, hanging out with the NWA Wildside, which was the same promotion that that TNA found AJ Styles in. We've gone full circle. So, yeah. What do you think of him? You like him? You like the partnering with James Mitchell?
Yeah, it's cool. It threw me off for a second because I was like, Macias got really small. No, I was like, no, that's a different dude.
He's actually taller than Judas Macias. Judas Macias is like 5'9".
No, that tracks because I think I'm confusing width with length. Pause.
Well, yeah, Judas Macias is 5'9", but he's 6'12". That's 7 foot, Chad.
Across.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, I understand.
Yeah, but yeah, it was cool. I think added a different flavor and always love seeing Father Mitchell. So yeah, it was cool thing, and he ended up winning, right?
Yes, he won the Battle Royal.
Yeah. So.
And for a guy in his late 40s, he's in phenomenal shape. So I dig that. Then we had the tag team of La Rebellion, Batista 666, Damien 666, Son, and Mecha Wolf 450 defeating Aaron Stevens and JR Kratos. I think this might be a sign that Kratos is sticking with New Japan long term, or at least long enough term, because he's working both the American New Japan shows strong. That's the show. And so I think this might be his departure. I don't know. That's speculation. And, of course, Aaron Stevens is the former Damien Sandow. I did not give a single care about this match.
And what is it, the tag team match?
Yeah, for the tag titles.
Yeah, same with you.
Just, yeah, you got some talent there. I ain't going to lie, kid. But also, I don't know. Batista 666 has been trying to be a thing since Shane Douglas ran his own promotion in, what was that, 2011? Extreme Revolution or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Extreme Hardcore. Ugh. Although I think it was Jay Bradley, so I'm not completely mad about it. Where's Jay Bradley, goddammit? I want more Jay Bradley. Then, of course, in the main event, Nick Aldis took on Trevor Murdoch in a title versus career match. Kind of never in doubt, but I also like the fact that we got it. You know, I'm not mad about it. Trevor Murdoch goes over with the win. Pile driver, bulldog combo is fantastic. Marcus, this is the same dude that was Jethro Holiday in TNA and Trevor Murdoch in WWE. I don't know. Some people weren't happy about it. I liked it. It was a nice story. They built up to it nicely, and the whole post-match promo was great. What do you think of it? Did I lose Marcus? I think I lost Marcus. Well, while we try to get Marcus back. All right. Marcus is back, folks. Welcome back. What do you think of Trevor Murdoch winning the title?
No, I tell you, man. I think it was time for a change, and I think he was the right look. When we talked about it, like he's one of those guys that is his style, his presentation, kind of everything about him is very synonymous with that classic NWA style.
Mm-hmm.
And to see him go, because I think he was the national champion, right?
I think so.
He had that, and then obviously he elevated. So I think his story has been great ever since going back to the YouTube show, him kind of being on the outs and then being convinced to come back to NWA and kind of doing this thing, and all the way up to now he's gotten the title. I think if you go drop anybody, it made sense that it was him, because he's just one of those guys that fully represents what that title is about. So it was cool to see all just finally drop it, and I thought it was the right thing to do. I don't see why people would have a problem with it. He's only gonna be champion so long. I would imagine it feels like he's had more than a 500-day reign, clearly. So it's he can afford to drop the belt. He's obviously not going anywhere, so he'll have time to get plenty of shots. I feel like this will be a Batista Edge scenario. Um, Circle whatever that year that Teddy Long just kept giving him matches to get the title back. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see, and well deserved.
I'm going to ask you a question, and I want to see if you can get it right. Nick Aldis won the NWA World Championship at an anniversary show for the NWA. But which one? So if we just had the 73rd, which one do you think you wanted that?
Let's see. 73rd.
I don't think there's a 72nd.
I'm trying to see. Was it a cage something in the title?
Nope.
Let's see. I'm trying to see. I know. Oh, okay. Well, 70th.
Yes.
Okay.
He has held the belt or had held the belt for 1,043 days. Historically, he is 5th all time in that one reign.
Go ahead, British Bruno.
Here are the guys who are above him. Lou Thez at number 4 and 1 respectively at 1,079 and 1,941. Gene Knitsky at 1,131. Dan Severn back in the mid to late 90s at 1,479, and Dory Funk Jr. at 1,563. This man has longer single reigns than Harley Race, Pat O'Connor, Ric Flair, Blue Demon, and Orville Brown, Jack Briscoe. So, yeah, and that was just his one title reign. That's what we like to call stupid. That's a stupid long title reign. Collectively, he has held the belt for 1,309 days. He only had 2 reigns, but he's 6th all time. Only Thez, Flair, Race, Funk, Severn have more. Who shall be Jeff? Nope. I kind of sold the answer. Who do you think should be Trevor Murdoch's next opponent? I have a name. It's one Hefe Herritz, a.k.a. The Boss, a.k.a. Double J. JEFF JARRETT. I didn't do that right. I know that. Marcus, Jarrett's 54. I don't care. I want to see it. I want to see Jarrett fight Murdoch for the title. I want to see Jarrett in Impact. I want to see Jarrett restart Global Force Wrestling. I want all the Jarrett. Marcus, I do believe though that Aldis is going to win the belt back. Do you want to see Aldis win the belt back, or are you ready for a change?
I'm ready for a change. That's why this Murdoch thing was so refreshing. I think like I said, he was the right guy to do it with. I I'd run him up against Storm next.
Mm-hmm.
That's me being a Storm guy. I ironically had it on mute when you were running down things. I like, hold up now, you gotta stop your short of damn global force now. Damn it. You're doing them damn gold bars. Go somewhere. Okay?
To be fair, I mean, Jarrett's a star maker. Like he found Karrion Cross. You know, the Bollywood boys. I mean, that's it, but still more than a lot of people found.
Found Karen Cross, and we wish he had now. But no, I can't say that because we wouldn't have got Scarlet. But
No, we would have. She was in Ring of Honor already.
Okay.
And let's be honest, you and I only like Scarlett because of her work in Impact, and she met Karrion in Impact. So like we still would have gotten everything. In fact, she may have still been in Impact.
Yeah, and Bob would be prospering. Of course, now he's
No Wayne.
yeah. Well, I
Congo
still feel like the relationship would have been healthier with Bordeaux, even though she was basically appearing and disappearing in the smoke. Feel like feel like Steele's gonna be punking him, but yeah, to me, I run him in the Storm. I think also, like I said, this is gonna be an ongoing thing with all this because I feel like this is like back in like 2003. He's like the Triple H when he was just obsessed with the world title.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and nobody can have it but him. And now that he has, 'cause I guess apparently all that time being away from NWA, I guess they got rid of that dude that was with the Valentine chick and replaced him with Chris Masters
Mm-hmm.
in the group. So that's interesting, I guess. But yeah, I run him. I run him in the Storm, or do a Murdoch Tim Storm thing. You know.
I wouldn't mind that. Tim Storm is just he's a good dude. I want to see Tim Storm on Impact at least once before he retires. I think he's 57, so like you know we're no longer playing with house money on that one. So let's run through the rest of these cards because they weren't good. At least the Empower wasn't. Diamante defeated Czech Tormenta and Kylie Ray. It was whatever. The Hex defeated Heels on Wheels, Renee Michelle, which is Rockstar Spud's wife, and Sahara 7. Renee Michelle is Choice. I was fine with that. Red Velvet and Kylie King defeated the Free Babes, Jazzy Yang, Mirinda Gordy, and Hollywood Haley J. I think if I remember correctly, Haley J is... What was Fest's tag team partner's name? Nope, I'm pretty sure that was Miranda Gordy's dad. I forget who Haley J is, or who she's related to. Jazzy Yang, however, is the daughter of Jimmy Wang Yang, and much like her father, she debuted pretty young. I think they said that she was, 19 or 20? Jimmy Wang was, I think, 18 or 19 when he joined WCW.
Nice. I hope she got her dad's moonsault.
Yeah. Perazzo defeated Molina, we already mentioned. The Hex defeated Red Velvet and Kylie King. Camille defeated Layla Hirsch, and Chelsea Green won the Battle Royal. Over on NWA 73, I didn't see any of the pre-show matches, so I can't comment on them. But Lady Frost and the Hex defeated Genocide, Paulo Mayfield, and Taryn Terrell. PJ Hawks defeated Colby Carino, leaving Colby Carino off the card. Heresy. Another fucking triple threat match opened the show. Tim Storm defeated Thom Latimer and Crimson. Thom did a senton off of a ladder onto Crimson, which was pretty dope. Mickey James defeated Kylie Ray because, why, it's fine, whatever. Tyrus and the Masked Man and Jordan Clearwater, who, by the by, that is a dope look. Jordan Clearwater has a great look. He was one in kind of like the big marching band coat with the weird half sleeved gold leg thing rocking. I dug that.
Yeah.
They defeated the Pope and the End, Odison and Pero. I think Odison could be a fucking main eventer in any company. I really do. I know he's boys with Pero, but I don't see Pero with much upside. Maybe if you turn Pero into a monster heel, have him turn on Odinson, you could do something with that, but I don't Chris Adonis defeated James Storm in a must-miss match. Judas won a battle royale featuring. We already named all of them. By the by, one of the women on Empower was Santino Marella's daughter.
Nice.
She was in the battle royale. I forget which one she was. La Rebellion defeated Aaron Stevens and Jared Kratos. Camille defeated Chelsea Green. Thank God. And Trevor Murdoch defeated Nick Aldis to win the title. Overall, Marcus, Empower gets what grade?
I give him a B minus for me.
You are very generous.
Yeah, I just like seeing all the women, man. I thought everybody was motivated. I thought it was just great. I thought they really showed up and showed out. But obviously, Green in any capacity is a minus, and also, like you said, the commentary was horrendous. I don't even know why you need that many men on a booth to do these shows. It's a two core team is fine, man. Like I get the aesthetics of having a woman commentate an all woman show.
Could you find one that's good at least?
That part. That neither her or Medusa served any real purpose there. They made it worse. But yeah, I get the aesthetics of it. But it just soured it. And we're sticklers for good quality commentary. So, but I just I think Mickie James did a hell of a job with however much she did with this. I would imagine a lot, and I just think everybody showed up. It was great to see a lot of names I hadn't seen in a while. I hadn't seen Taryn in a while. Like you said, Morella's daughter was there. Yang's daughter was there. A lot of other indie names I hadn't seen. It was cool seeing Red Velvet in action. We finally got Marty Bell getting some gold. And I thought that Awesome Kong Gail Kim moment was a beautiful thing.
That's right. That was something that we forgot to mention. Awesome Kong retired at the event, even though she wasn't booked and she didn't wrestle, and we didn't know she was going to be there. And
yeah,
I think her retirement could have been handled a lot better. I was kind of disappointed by it.
Yeah, it was cool. Obviously, like you said, you can always go out as a grand thing, but maybe that was her choice. Maybe she don't do the spectacle. But I think she kind of is done, and I think the only time we've actually seen her come out in a way was for Kim, because I think she came out for Kim's retirement, and then she came out for us. So that I appreciate seeing that real relationship, because I feel like that's the only person that can really get her up. Like she said, that's the only person that get me up off my couch. At this point, because she's a mom now, so that's a whole different thing. But that was a great moment, and I thought those two women's matches with Perazzo and Melina and Hirsch and Camille was really good. But yeah, like you said, the commentary and anything Chelsea Green related is a minus. But I do think the women's show, to me, overall was better.
I did not know Awesome Kong had a kid. I'm with you on the commentary issue. It was one of those things where it felt like everyone but Joe Galli, I think his name is, were trying to go into business for themselves. They're all trying to have that big moment on commentary. But instead of waiting for it organically, they kept trying to force it every other minute. And Velvet especially. Velvet didn't understand her role. She's a color commentator. And I don't know who the other dude was, but he wasn't very good either. But he's insignificant because who the hell is he? I don't know who he is. So we're going to focus on Velvet. Velvet's role was supposed to add color to the conversation. That's literally why they call them color commenters. Yet most of the time she was trying to do play-by-play for some reason. Now, I don't know if she's aware of it, if she was aware that that's what she was doing. I don't know if that was her intention, if she was just too excited. But no one corrected her, because it wasn't like it was a one-time thing. She was on 73 and did the same thing. She was bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to correct that. Apparently, Kong didn't have her kid. She had a miscarriage back in 2011. That's my bad.
Okay.
But that was, because that was a whole thing with her WWE run.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that's my bad. But yeah, with the Velvet Sky thing, she was either interrupting the dude that had something to say, repeating exactly what he just said, cutting him off from saying something that was better than what she said. You got color, you got play-by-play, and she was trying to find a mix between both, and she was just ruining both of them. It was bad. It was bad. Like I said, I get the optics and I get it. And she also did this ruined everything. She did and said everything in the same tone the whole time. And the only time she got excited was, oh, ah. Like you're making Cole look like a savant.
Yeah, that is. She was bad. She was bad. And it's not like all women are bad commentators. That's not the narrative. We're saying Velvet Sky was a bad commentator. Like, what's her name? John Moxley's wife. She was a good play-by-play.
Yeah, Renee.
Renee Michelle. Nope, that's Spud's wife. But yeah, Renee. Paquette.
Yeah.
She was a good play-by-play. She's a good host. She can keep people in line and weave people in and out. Now, granted, a host and a play-by-play are very different because a host is trying to keep conversations organic and throwing to the pundits and whatnot, but a play-by-play guy is recanting what you're seeing in the ring and trying to explain to people watching what's going on. She tried doing that. She wasn't great, but she was fine. But her color commentary stuff is awful. But then again, it's supposed to be. She's never wrestled before, so of course it would be. So watching Velvet Sky, someone who did wrestle, try to talk, oh God, no, never again.
Yeah, and again, we don't, we're not guys that just pick on people and bash them. It really was horrendous. It was an unnecessary 3-person thing. Like the guy that was in the middle really was just sitting there the whole time, and he may have said 2 or 3 things, but he really was just caught in the middle of a shit sandwich.
And like the funny thing, when he talked, he tried to get really like poetic.
Yeah.
And like you'd be like, there are times when people look at you and you know that this is the moment and this is the becoming of the moment of the beginning. And you're like, what are you talking about, dude? Shut up.
And then be able to be like, yeah, this is a big deal.
She'd be like, this is a big deal. Oh, look at her with the arm lock. Oh, and now she's transitioning to a headlock and a drop toe hold. And you can just tell Joe Galli is sitting there with his head in his hands going, I'm not getting paid enough for this bullshit.
You're being generous because she wasn't even calling moves. She'd be like, oh, such and such is in a tight spot here.
Oh,
Struggling. Oh, she's so aggressive. Look at her. She's so aggressive. Get him, girl. I'm like, okay. I'm like, if I didn't know better, I'd say they pulled you out of the audience.
Yeah.
You didn't know better. They pulled you right out of the audience as a NWA fan contest win thing. Like it was that bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was just, and it didn't get any better on the 73rd. In fact, I have less excuses for the 73rd because someone should have been like, Velvet, stop talking. Guy in the middle, talk less. Let Joe do it. And like, here's the thing that really boggles my mind. You got a beautiful person on the commentary table. You couldn't have called Impact and been like, Madison, you want to do color for us? You still would have had a beautiful person. They were in the stable together. Just saying. That was a fundamental whiff. Fundamental whiff. Marcus, what's your grade on NWA 73?
I'm going to give that get out a C+. Commentary didn't aid at all. Chelsea was on it, lost but still on it. Tyrus was on it and won, so. Yeah, it was a couple of nothing match. Like it sucked that I watched the James Storm match where I was like, that was completely unnecessary.
Chris Adonis, what are you gonna do with the masterpiece, the Adonis piece?
It's just not clicking, man. It's not clicking.
I'm giving Empower a C-. You tried, and I'll give you that. You had 2 really good matches, and that's what's saving you. I'm giving 73 a C.
Yeah.
Only because Trevor Murdoch won.
Yeah.
In terms of quality, both these shows were lacking. But they do still have a couple matches each that I think are worth checking out. All right, Marcus. Anything else you want to talk about before we say goodnight?
No, that's pretty much everything. I guess happy birthday to the charismatic enigma himself. Um,
Jeff
on
Hardy has a birthday on the 31st.
Yeah, today was his WWE. Give him a shout out. That was he was trending today. So yeah, shout out to Jeffrey Nero Hardy, still walking after all this time.
Barely.
Somehow, yeah.
Brother Nero. All right, so realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com. Marcus can be found on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
It's me.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, over on Twitter at True Penny Show, TruePennyShow. You can find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on Instagram at Chad's Photo What. The website, once again, is realnerdcorp.com. We're on Twitter at NERDCORP. Follow us, like us. Do all that nonsense. Twitch.tv, YouTube, follow us on there. We got links on the website. You can check us out there. I think that's it. For Marcus, I'm Chad. Be sure to watch more wrestling. Thank you. I forget the entire outro. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. And as always, watch more wrestling. And there we go. We're back. Marcus, take us home.
Good night, me.